An 18-year-old walks into Judge Caprio's courtroom with the confidence of someone who believes they've found a loophole in the law. He's facing reckless driving charges after performing donuts in a mall parking lot at 2 a.m. His car was impounded, and his friends recorded the entire incident, later posting it online. Yet the teenager doesn't seem concerned. He's grinning, convinced that his research and a few internet forums have revealed something the entire legal system somehow missed. As Judge Caprio begins to outline the potential fines and penalties, the young man interrupts him with 4 words that make the entire courtroom fall silent. "You can't find me. Not please don't find me. Not I can't afford it." But a bold, flat declaration, "You can't find me." Judge Caprio's pen stops midair. He looks up, his expression shifting, signaling that what's about to happen will be a costly lesson in humility. Subscribe now, because what follows shows exactly why you never tell a judge what they can't do, and why free legal advice from the internet is usually worth exactly what you paid for it. Comment below. Have you ever seen someone be confidently wrong? Because this is that, multiplied by 10. Thursday afternoon, 2:15 p.m. Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls the next case, and the prosecutor already looks uneasy. Case 8934, Brandon Cole. Charges: reckless driving and property damage. A teenage boy enters wearing a hoodie and jeans, AirPods still in his ears until his mother quickly signals for him to take them out. He's accompanied by both parents who appear tired and embarrassed. Judge Caprio examines the file with increasing concern. Judge Caprio: "Mr. Cole, you're 18 years old, correct?" Brandon: "Yes, sir, Judge. At least you said, sir. You're charged with reckless driving in the Providence Place Mall parking lot at 2:17 a.m. The police report states you were performing what they describe as donuts, leaving tire marks and almost hitting a light pole. Is that accurate?" Brandon shifts uneasily. Brandon: Yeah, but there's more to it. Judge Caprio: "The mall is pressing charges for property damage. Cleaning those tire marks requires professional removal costing $200. Your car was also impounded." He looks up, visibly surprised. Judge: "And according to this report, you and your friends filmed the stunt and posted it online, where it now has over 50,000 views." Brandon's mother covers her face in shame. His father stares silently at the floor. Judge Caprio: "Mr. Cole, can you explain your thought process here?" Brandon shrugs. Brandon: "It was late. The lot was empty. We were just having fun. Nobody got hurt, Judge." "Having fun by destroying property and driving dangerously?" Brandon: "I wouldn't call it reckless. I had control of my car the whole time." Judge Caprio raises an eyebrow. Judge: "Control? While spinning in circles and burning rubber across the pavement? Nearly clipping a light pole? Yeah, I've seen videos online. I knew what I was doing." The prosecutor coughs, trying to hide what might be a laugh. Things are clearly not going well for Brandon. Judge Caprio keeps going. "Mr. Cole, your vehicle was impounded. How much did it cost to retrieve it?" "About $400, Brandon replies. "And who paid that?" Brandon glances toward his parents. "My dad." "I see," the judge notes. "And the mall is requesting $200 for pavement repairs. Who's covering that?" "I'm not sure yet," Brandon admits. Judge Caprio jots down a few notes before continuing. "In addition to property damage, you're charged with reckless driving. That carries a fine of up to $1,000, plus court costs, a possible license suspension, and mandatory traffic safety classes." That's when Brandon decides to speak up. "Yeah, about that," he says, pulling out his phone. "I looked this up. You actually can't find me." The courtroom falls silent. Judge Caprio's pen freezes midair. Brandon's mother gasps. Brandon, no, but he continues, unaware of the tension he's caused. "I'm 18 but still in high school. There's a law that says you can't impose financial penalties on students, so legally you can't fine me." Judge Caprio slowly sets down his pen. His face shows a mix of disbelief and perhaps a bit of pity. "Mr. Cole," he asks calmly, "where exactly did you find this information? Online? You mean one of those legal forums where people share ways to avoid tickets?" "Yes, Your Honor. Someone posted that students can't be fined because it's considered targeting minors." "I see," Judge Caprio replies. "And did this online legal expert mention which state that supposed law applies to?" No, Brandon mutters. Did they reference any statute numbers or cite a single case? Brandon's confidence fades. It was just something I read on the forum. Judge Caprio turns to the prosecutor. Counselor, are you aware of any Rhode Island law that prevents 18-year-old students from receiving traffic fines? The prosecutor can't help but smile. No, Your Honor. There's no such statute. Mr. Cole seems to be confusing school policies where institutions can't financially penalize students with state law, which absolutely allows traffic fines regardless of student status. Judge Caprio looks back at Brandon. Mr. Cole, let me make this perfectly clear. At 18, you are legally an adult. You can vote, serve in the military, sign contracts, and yes, be fined for traffic violations. Being in high school has no bearing on that. Brandon's face pales. But the forum said, the forum, Judge Caprio interrupts, was either wrong, misleading, or written by someone joking. Either way, your claim is completely and unquestionably false. His father finally speaks. Your Honor, I apologize. We tried to tell him this was nonsense, but he wouldn't listen. Dad, the guy had like 1,000 upvotes. Brandon protests. Judge Caprio cuts him off sharply. Mr. Cole, upvotes are not legal precedent. Let me explain how this actually works. You committed reckless driving. You damaged property. You put yourself and possibly others at risk. These are violations of Rhode Island law. I am a judge in Rhode Island. I absolutely can and I absolutely will impose fines and penalties, and there is no but. You walked into this court with internet misinformation and tried to tell me what I can't. That was a mistake, a serious one. Brandon's mother is quietly in tears now, clearly embarrassed by her son's conduct. Judge Caprio continues, his tone steady but not harsh. Mr. Cole, I'm going to teach you a few lessons today. First, the internet is not a law school. Second, when you're in a hole, stop digging. Third, telling a judge what they can't do is about the worst strategy imaginable. An older man in the gallery, likely a lawyer from his attire, raises his hand. Judge Caprio nods. Yes, counselor. The man stands. Your Honor, if I may, I'm an attorney here in Providence. I've practiced for 32 years, and I want this young man to understand something. What he just did, challenging a judge's authority using internet research, could have led to contempt. Your Honor is showing remarkable patience. Judge Caprio nods. That's an important point, Mr. Cole. Do you see how much worse this could be for you right now? Brandon, finally understanding, whispers, Yes, Your Honor. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you agree the internet doesn't replace real legal knowledge. Judge Caprio opens the file again and reviews it carefully while Brandon stands at the podium. Confidence gone and now clearly uneasy. Mr. Cole, let's review what you actually owe since you seem unclear about my authority to issue fines for reckless driving in Rhode Island. The law allows fines up to $1,000. I'm setting yours at $800. Brandon's eyes widen while his mother lets out a quiet sigh of worry. Court costs and administrative fees. $215 in Your Honor, his father begins. I'm not done. Judge Caprio interrupts calmly. For the property damage at the mall parking lot, restitution of $2,200 must be paid to Providence Place Mall within 90 days. Brandon quickly does the math in his head, realizing the total exceeds $2,200. Additionally, the judge continues, your license is suspended for 60 days. After that period, you'll be required to complete a 16-hour reckless driving course before reinstatement. Your Honor, I need my car for school, Brandon pleads. You should have thought of that, Caprio replies, before doing donuts in a parking lot at 2 a.m. and sharing it online for everyone to see. Judge Caprio's tone softens slightly, but his words remain steady. Mr. Cole, you came here believing you'd found a loophole. You assumed internet votes and comments outweighed real law. You confidently told a judge you can't find me, and you were completely wrong. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I really thought that's the issue, Caprio interjects. You didn't think. You assumed. You believed strangers online instead of using basic judgment. And now you're literally paying for that mistake. Brandon's father steps forward. Your Honor, he's still in high school. He doesn't have that kind of money. I'll have to pay it. Judge Caprio shakes his head. With respect, sir, that's not the right approach. Your son is 18, he's an adult. He made adult decisions, damaging property, driving recklessly, and posting it publicly. He needs to face adult consequences. But how is he supposed to pay over $2,000? His father asks. The same way any adult does, Caprio responds. He gets a job. He works and pays it back. We can set up a payment plan, but he pays it, not you. The judge looks directly at Brandon. Mr. Cole, you're about to learn what real responsibility is. You'll work, probably long hours. You'll hand over every paycheck until these fines are paid. You'll take the bus for 2 months because you can't drive. And with every ride, you'll remember that internet legal advice is worthless, and that actions always have consequences. A woman in her 30s raises her hand. Judge Caprio acknowledges her. Yes, ma'am? Your Honor, I'm a high school teacher. I see this all the time. Young people who think a Google search makes them experts, trusting social media over actual professionals. This young man received exactly what he needed today. A reality check. A man in his 50s stands up. Your Honor, I run a small business. Over the years, I've hired many teenagers, and I can tell you, the ones who've never faced real consequences are always the hardest to deal with. They believe the rules don't apply to them. This young man needed this lesson. Brandon's mother, still wiping her tears, speaks softly. Your Honor, may I say something? Of course. My husband and I have been struggling with Brandon for years. He always thinks he's right and refuses to listen to us. He spends hours online, finding whatever answers support what he already believes. We tried to tell him that his "you can't be fined" argument made no sense, but he wouldn't listen. Maybe hearing it from you and facing the outcome himself will finally make a difference. Judge Caprio's expression softens with understanding. Ma'am, parenting is difficult. Raising a teenager in a world filled with endless misinformation online is even more challenging. But you're correct. Sometimes only real consequences can teach the lessons that words cannot. He turns to Brandon again. Mr. Cole, your mother said something very important. You don't listen. You think you know more than adults who've lived through the things you're only reading about. That's normal for teenagers. But you're not one anymore. You're 18, you're an adult now, and adults who refuse to listen often pay a high price for it. Brandon nods slowly, eyes lowered. I understand, Your Honor. Do you really? Because 20 minutes ago you confidently told me I couldn't fine you, all based on something you read online from anonymous sources. Does that seem like a wise decision now? No, Your Honor, why not? Brandon takes a moment before answering. Because I didn't check if the information was true. I didn't confirm whether it applied to Rhode Island or even my case. I just believed it because I wanted it to be true. Judge Caprio nods, clearly approving. That's a good realization, son. That's how real learning begins. Remember this moment. The next time you feel tempted to take legal advice from internet strangers instead of professionals, think about standing here facing more than $2,000 in fines because you trusted a popular forum post. The attorney who spoke earlier adds one final remark. Your Honor. If I may, Mr. Cole, I hope this experience teaches you something valuable. Genuine legal advice comes only from licensed attorneys who evaluate your unique situation under the law, not from anonymous users online. Had you consulted a real lawyer for even 30 minutes, they would have immediately told you that the forum advice was incorrect. It might have cost you around $150. Instead, you're paying $2,200. Brandon nods quietly, realizing the full weight of his mistake. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should his parents step in to help? Or is Judge Caprio right that he must handle it alone? As the hearing concludes, Judge Caprio gives his closing instructions. Mr. Cole, the clerk will assist you in arranging a payment plan. You'll have 90 days to pay restitution to them all. The remaining fines can be paid over 6 months. Your license suspension begins immediately. Please surrender it before leaving. Any questions? No, Your Honor. Then let me leave you with this. You're 18, and you're at a crossroads. You can keep acting like you already know it all, trusting random people online, and dismissing advice from those who actually understand the law. That route only leads to costly mistakes and painful lessons. Or, you can start listening, researching properly, and thinking critically. That's the path to success. Which one will you choose? Brandon's voice softens, sounding sincere. The second one, Your Honor. I hope so, Judge Caprio replies. Because if you ever come back to my courtroom, and let's hope you don't, you won't get patience next time. You'll get the maximum penalties. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. As Brandon and his parents leave, his father mutters, Tomorrow morning you're filling out job applications at every place within walking distance. An attorney steps forward and says, Your Honor, that was a masterclass in patience and education. Judge Caprio gives a modest shrug. He's 18, old enough to know better, but still young enough to learn. 20 years from now, that young man will probably tell his own kids about the day he told a judge, "You can't find me," based on something he read online. Think he learned his lesson? His wallet definitely did. Whether his judgment catches up is another story. Subscribe to Judge Stories for more moments when internet confidence meets courtroom reality, where 4 little words, "You can't find me," end up costing $2,200. Brandon Cole entered court thinking he could outsmart the system. He left without a license, facing heavy fines and realizing that Reddit upvotes don't count as legal precedent. Judge Caprio proved that telling a judge what they can't do is expensive, that online legal advice is worthless, and that real-world consequences teach lessons no forum ever could. This is what happens when confidence outweighs knowledge, when Google searches replace real lawyers, and when one teenager learns the hard way that "you can't find me" is the priciest sentence he's ever spoken. Where are you watching from? Have you ever followed terrible advice from the internet? Share your experiences below.